Hey guys, Jeff here, Dice Setters. So last Saturday I was at, where was I? I was at Harrah's. And Harrah's is right next to Link. And I did a video about the Link craps table that faces right there off of the Vegas Boulevard. And about how it was close to mine before I sat there and took the padding out. They've moved all that. So if you go there to the Link and you're expecting to see that craps table, no, it's not there. They have slot machines there now, and exactly where that table is at, I'm not for sure. But I didn't even, I looked and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they just did away with that table, but anyhow, that that table's gone. So I was at Harrah's, and I learned and I tried my hardest to lead by example. So it's hard for me to not do what I say. But here's the situation. If you watch craps enough, you kind of know what's going to happen. Let's talk about that. I got to be right here at the table. There was nobody here, one guy there. The rest of the table was filled. I got into place. I put my money down. It went to this shooter. That shooter had been there since 10. And he still had money, not lots of money, but he had money. And he was definitely a random shooter. He would, well, not like that. But anyhow, he would sit there and, he was definitely a shaker. He was definitely shake those dice up and wham! And I was watching his rolls, and he hit a 2. He hit a 12. He hit a 3. He hit a 11. And I thought, you know what? Next time around, I'm going to put money on the small and the tall. Most of the time I don't, but he already had rolled everything, and it was a long roll. At that point, you can get in it, and then, you don't know what to do. But I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure I put money on this guy. So the dice went around. I did my thing. Dice went to the young gentleman there. And again, he was just, and he was one of those that, that have to do this, he even did that, and then he'd roll. And man, these dice would just scatter. It was true randomness. He got the small, and I was like, sweet, I had $5 on it. So it's base 35-1. And then he finishes off by doing the tall. Well, cool. The only sad thing is I had no money on the all. So with this young man rolling, $400 profit. I walked away from the table, said goodbye. I gave the thrower $25. I gave the dealers $25 because I was only there for one roll. And went back to the table at 8 o'clock at night, and he's still there, still had money. But the odd thing was this man never bet on anybody else's. He would wait until it was his turn. He would go off and eat a hamburger or go to the bathroom, or I don't know, he was gone. And then he'd always show up right before his turn. And he would only bet minimum on the pass line. And that was all he bet. He would not bet anything else. I try not to tell people who I am. I try my hardest to, I got my mask on. It's really hard to recognize me unless you look for the Arizona hat, Arizona Diamondback hat. But I tried my hardest not to say anything because, some people don't take, hey, why don't you put money here? People don't want that. But anyhow, sometimes you have to break the rules. Sometimes, you might have rules like I'm only going to bet on myself, or I'm not going to sit there and random shooters, I'm not going to put money on them. Well, if I did that, I wouldn't have the extra $400 in my pocket. So if you spend enough time at the craps table, you will eventually find out who those people are, and you will eventually go, okay, well, he did a 2, he did a 12, he did a, start going through this in your mind without a piece of paper. And I imagine if I put money on him the first time, he would have won again the first time around. But that's my story for Harrah's. And of course my wife was upset because I didn't have any money on the all. And if I had $5 on the all, which I normally would do, yeah, it was like $700 I missed out on. But oh well, you can't win them all. Most of the time I like shooting from the other side. So I prefer to be a right one, right two. I don't like to be at the very end unless the table's short. And the only spot open was here and here. And that was the only two spots open. And my favorite one, in my favorite dice set I'm doing right now, is the 3-2-3-1. But I do it from stick left one, left two. Excuse me, right one, right two. I don't normally do it from left one, left two. But I was able to sit there and still roll my roll that I normally do here, but I did it here. So once you have a favorite roll, you need to make sure that you can duplicate it on both sides if possible. I know there are some ones out there that you're just like, you know what, you can only roll this from this side of the table. But I was able to just gently, pick them up. And of course, the 3-1, 3-2 combination, it was always just hold it very loosely at the very tip. And then you sit there and, let it go. Landing zone is crucial. And for some reason, I don't know why, but my landing zone is not as well here as it is there. I will mess it up. But anyhow, I did that on my roll. It turned out really well. The biggest thing is each table is different. Even if you had two manufacturers, I guarantee that there'll be somewhat of a difference, bounce, everything. So experiment. Sometimes you have to, be here versus, being here. Sometimes it's the numbers that are up. But each table is different. So my suggestion, if you want to sit there and make money all the time, is you're going to have to stick with just a couple of tables. So if you're on the strip, you'd want to, this is my go-to table on the strip. If I'm downtown, this is my go-to table downtown. If you're off the strip, which would leave you with South Point, there's other ones too, Samstown, you're just going to have to pick and choose. But if you can, and short games last. And I know I preach short games, but that guy was not a short game. I did the Iron Cross and I left it up and I just said, oh well, And my oh well was $400 profit. If I had taken that down sooner, I definitely would not have had $400 profit with one thrower. It would have been, slightly less. And I let it go. I just let it ride, and whenever he sevened out, he sevened out. But if you're going to make money, and that's when you're happiest, that's when you're going to be, a star at your game, is when you're comfortable with the table, when you're happy with your throws, when you're doing everything right, making money. And that's the biggest thing. If you really wanted to, this could be supplemental income if you say, correctly, if you can do it right. It does take practice. You will lose money. But you'll get to the mountain peak and start to go back down as you are more comfortable with that table. You're more comfortable with your roll. You're more comfortable having more money out here, keeping your game short. But that's the biggest thing. Keep your game short. Now again, practice what you preach. I didn't do it with that guy. I knew, just by watching him, I'm like, you know what? He's going to do it. And when he did it, the dealers even said, that was the first time today that someone had won the all tall small. But his last time rolling, nobody had any money on him. But his second time that I saw him roll, I had money on him, and two guys down here had money on him. And I don't know if they came to the table and said, you know what, this guy can roll. We're going to do the same thing. I'm not for sure. But, sometimes rules can be bent. Sometimes rules are not cut and dry. If you're here at the table for 4 or 5 hours watching people, seeing how they roll, you can pretty much go, I'm not going to bet on this guy, but man, there's a guy down there. That's the guy I'm going to sit there and bet on. Instead of just keeping it your game and don't worry about anybody else. So I hope that was a help for you. I hope that was a tip for you. But definitely, I will be back in Vegas this Friday and Saturday and Sunday. I'll be staying at Bally's, but I'm probably going to walk to Harrah's, and I will sit there and do more work on that table. They do have the all tall small. Paris does not. Bally's does not. And you have $10 at risk, but or you have $11 at risk, like I should have had at least $1 on the all. That would have made me $120 more. But get to know your table and only use that one table. Where this table was at, directly behind it was another table. That table was not being used. The table here, it was being used. It was $25, and the table over across from it was a $100 table. Guess how many people they had playing at the $100 table? Yeah, that's right. Nobody. Nobody playing at the $100 table. And my wife goes, I don't even want to see you at the $100 table. She goes, she goes, it just make me hurt. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I mean, you'd use the same principle, but still $100. Yeah, that's crazy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if they switch the tables around. Because I don't know. I've never been, at Harrah's often enough to know this table is only 15, that table is only 25, and the table behind that's always 100. I don't know if they switch them up. But if they switch them up, I'm going to have to sit there and say I'm going to go play somewhere else, because you want to familiarize yourself with the table, become closer with that table, and that's how you're going to win. And sometimes, you have to pick the spot that's open. Sometimes you won't be happy with it, but you can at least get in and tell the dealer, hey, when this spot becomes open, I want to switch. They'll do that. There's no problem with doing that. But definitely do what I did. My favorite place to sit is here, and I was here. So I changed my roll, and I'm like, it's the same thing. I'm rolling it. Same thing as here. The only difference is, anyhow, I sat there and won with my roll. I won with that guy rolling. I mean, can't get much better than that, $400 profit. And then you walk away and go, bye, But don't go table hopping. It's best to, okay, I'm at the Strip, I'm going here. I'm at downtown, I'm going here. And that's where you're going to become a better player, a better gambler, and you can sit there and say, I'm going to put more money out there because I know I can do it. When I got to the table, the first guy shooting, the guy who helped me win all that money, someone put $50 on midnight. And I've never been to a table that anyone would put $50 on midnight. That's a one-time roll only. It pays 30 to 1. Well, it doesn't. Well, it says here on the horn it's 30 to 1, but the horn bet is a one-time only, because it's not here as far as a hard way set. But it pays 30 to 1. And they hit it. And I was just, wow. So that'd be a goal for me. Once I find a table I like, and I'll go, okay, they don't change it from day to day. This table is always a $15 table. Why not try to sit there and have your come out roll midnight? Why not? It's something that can be duplicated as long as you're always doing the same thing. The only thing that would change is the dice. I really don't think they would switch from a heavier dice to a lighter dice. I don't see the practicality of that. I don't have a scale with me, to see, what dice they're using. But for the most part, I'm pretty sure they're using the heavier dice. You would definitely know the lighter dice are more bouncy. Just by handling it, you should be able to sit there and say, wow, these are the lighter dice. I don't know of any table I've gone to on the Strip that uses the lighter dice. I know they're on Fremont Street, right across the street from the Golden Nugget. I forgot the name of that casino, but right directly across from the big opening there on Fremont Street, that casino, they use the lighter dice. And man, those dice, they're uncontrollable. And they have a very hard table, extremely hard table. But you get to know the dice, you get to know the table. That's when you're going to win. I hope this was a help to you. And I always sit there and say like, share, subscribe. YouTube wants me to tell you that because it helps me by doing so. It builds up the channel and makes it so that it's easier for me to get to 3,000 people is what I'm looking for. So I can do this live. And you can sit there and laugh at all the mistakes I make. But I mean, I only do it one time only. Unless I run out of video timing, which I did last week. But I cleared my phone and hopefully that will never happen again. But anyhow, if you want to hook me up, you just sit there and put down dicesetters@gmail.com. It rings as a notification. I know that I know that day that you sat there and emailed me, and I'll sit there and get back to you. If you want to sit there and play at the same table, I have no problems doing that. And you can see I'm a human being. I mess up, and I'm pretty sure you're a human being. You'll mess up. But the biggest thing is having fun, trying to win money, and doing so kind of a little bit different than most people do in Vegas, where you actually try to have some sort of difference of the outcome. It'd be like having a magnet stuck to the slot machine that you're not supposed to have. That's kind of the way dice setting is. But anyhow, reach out to me. I'd love to sit there and play craps with somebody. Not a problem with doing that. Have a great one. And a thumbs up if you liked it. Tell me if this has been a help. But if it hasn't been a help, I'll do something a little different. I'll stick to only doing, dice combinations if that's what you want. But let me know. Let me know in the comments what you want to do. And thank you to all those that commented about the bankroll and what you bought in for. It kind of made sense. There's a little bit of a different technicality of which one's which. Your bankroll and buying in. I just like bankroll. Because if someone says, "Hey, I have a bankroll of 1,000," I know that's a big thing, and what you're doing to accomplish that, especially if you sit there and say it's good enough for 10 players, that's quite a bit. But if you sit there and say, "Yeah, my bankroll is only $300 and it's good for 10 people," that means you're betting small amounts, and that would make more sense to me. Ones we're putting a lot of money on the table, and the other ones we're not putting so much money on the table. But anyhow, thanks for everyone that commented, and I try to make sure I see them all. It's, sometimes I don't get the notification, sometimes I have to go back to each video, but I try to sit there and respond to everything you guys say. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.